Discretion is advised.
Some viewers may find this disturbing. Viewer discretion is advised.
Here he is. This is great. We're really focused, guys, aren't we? We have literally just thrown this together the right way. We always say this, we always do this, don't we? Always throw it together. There was never any planning when it comes to the Ben&Grem Show.
There is some kind of planning.
But this wasn't. This was rushed,
No,
wasn't
we've
it?
been really last minute.
Camera looks good. Show me about my face though. You're looking alright though, as per usual. We always start like this, don't we? Full of compliments.
We left it that late, we couldn't get into the makeup department.
No.
So you have to put up with the look.
Actually, yeah, we haven't worn any, have we? You can see I've got extra cologne in this ginger beard of mine. Normally I'd dampen that down, don't I? It's too much for the lighting. Actually, the lighting's pretty good, to be fair, isn't it?
Perfect.
Oh, is this the wine, is it?
Yes, it's the one.
We're having a drink, guys. You can't see this because the camera, you can see the bottle just there, but the camera is
Well, if you listen carefully.
perfectly set up. Don't drink about it for what, 2 weeks? It's only wine though, guys, and actually we'll get onto this because this is not part of the script, is it? But we'll just talk about alcohol for a second, shall we? Graham, before we do, I just, sorry guys, excuse our setup during our recording, all right? So, do I need to go this way? You need to come this way. If you come, I can't. He says I can't. Right, if I move this over a bit, we're just moving the studio about a bit. Ugh. That's not happening. Don't know what's going on there.
We've been packaged.
Right, right. That's better, isn't it? I don't know. I feel like you need to be more centred. Do you think? What do you think, guys?
Yeah, I reckon so. I reckon we need to move the camera.
So we have our wonderful director in the background. She is going to help us for any comments that we find that come through live as we speak, because we haven't got that set up at the moment. We are very short on time tonight in the sense of our setup time, so we haven't got nearly any of our equipment ready, although what we have got for you at least is this feed. I mean, that's about as far as we got tonight, but that's not to say it's not going to be action packed, is it, Grim? We have so much involved tonight.
Well, so much has been going on recently in the news.
Mm.
Obviously, you have the Ukraine situation, which is quite major.
Ben&Grem goes, what is it? Nigel Farage, isn't it? It's Farage. What is it? The beer, isn't it? When he goes
His
live.
glasses are wicked.
They are pretty good, aren't they? Yeah. Cheers, Graham. It's been a while.
Yeah.
Good to see you again, mate.
Drinking out of a fish bowl.
Yeah. Well, there won't be much of that drinking on my side of the fence. I've been good. You've been good. I've had a bit of a change of diet recently, so I've changed everything. I mean, I've become a rabbit in terms of food production. I've eaten everything rabbit-like, from grain to brown bread. So I've changed completely. In fact, this is the first sip of wine I've had. In fact, this is the first sip of alcohol I've had. So it's leading a different lifestyle.
Well, wine's good for you in moderation.
Oh, we were going to talk about that, weren't we? So
Yes.
wine is actually good for your vascular system, despite what maybe you might have been told. I was told, let's not drink alcohol for a while because it's probably best you don't, for the reasons of change of lifestyle, change of diet. But actually, alcohol is good for lowering cholesterol, which absolutely I did not believe, but it's true. However, they do say that because wine is made up of grapes, and grapes is naturally good for you, then really, in moderation, you can't go wrong. It's good for the system. So Drink wine, folks.
And this wine is really nice.
I don't know what it is. What is it? Para.
Oh, God.
Malbec.
Argentina. Ah, that's in the news today as well, everybody.
We'll show you a bit of magic, yeah? This has nothing to do with us, but just hold it up to the camera, Grem. Right, and maybe move it to the middle there a little bit. Look, it's see-through. Well, it is, isn't it? It's glass, but you get my point. I love it. The wonders of cameras.
12.5%.
Yeah, it's
Wine of Argentina.
wine of Argentina.
That's in the news today.
Is it? What have they done?
No, it was what happened with the war there all those years ago. Margaret Thatcher's
The
government.
Falklands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the anniversary of it today.
Oh dear, how did I miss that?
I should know how many years, but I don't.
But if you do, guys, just let us know. You know how to do it. Comment in the comments box and talk and debate with us as it happens here live on the Ben&Grem Show on the 2nd of March, Saturday, 2022. Now I'm going to say this is what, our second live this year?
Well, it's either our second or our third.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I think you're second.
Might be second.
Yes, it's the second.
We weren't doing all right. We've got a load of material that we've done behind the scenes, haven't we? But as a way of live shows, I think this is.
Well, we've been buying bits and bobs as well because
we've had a lot going on, haven't we?
You know, hopefully within 6 months we're going to have our own studio.
Yeah, coming along really nice. Plans in the mist.
Yeah, we're getting the soundproofing sorted. I'm nearly completed on that.
Yeah.
But once we find an accommodation for it, then it can all be put up.
Rocking and rolling. Yeah. Absolutely.
Gonna be cool.
Can agree more. Yeah, so it's very nice wine, guys. I recommend go and get yourself a glass or a cup of tea if that's your tipple. I've been drinking tea actually because of my change of diet. I will say actually that I've been drinking tea without sugar. My doctor said maybe you should lay off the sugar for a while. Actually, indefinitely in my case, because actually, since I've now taken that adoption, I can live without sugar. You know, as a kid, I used to have like shredded wheat, and I used to pile loads of sugar on it. Or if it was like Frosties, you know, Frosties are already sugary, aren't they? And I used to have sugar on top of Frosties.
Oh, you never did.
I did. I was always, and if I go out my nan's, sometimes I felt as if I had 3 spoonfuls of sugar in my tea. I mean, it was always nice. My nan made it. However, even I myself, when making tea, would always go about 2 heaped. Now I'm having tea with no sugar, and actually I've adopted it quite well.
It's nice. I love tea. Is so refreshing. You don't. If you put sugar with it, it tastes quite sickly to me.
I think it does. And actually, it's only.
You're talking about cereals. I don't have sugar on cereals.
Do you not?
No, not at all.
There's no need for it though, is there really? There's a lot of.
There's natural sugar within
natural
it
sugar.
anyway.
Do you know what? I don't know whether it's just going to sound weird, Graham, but after a while of not having sugar, I think only then your body can actually adapt to tasting natural sugars. Because previously, if you were one to eat sugar quite regularly, you wouldn't taste natural sugars because it wouldn't taste right. It wouldn't be enough. But actually, if you stop eating sugar per se, then just rely on, natural sugars. It's sweet.
I agree.
It's weird. It's your body's way of adapting.
For example, you've got the I've forgotten the name of the cereal now. Bite-sized shredded wheat is one of my favourites.
Do you have it with the raisins?
No, I just have it with just standard, just the original.
Yeah.
Well, Aldi's version, which is quite nice, and it's totally plain. But you can, because I don't take sugar on cereals or in meals at all whatsoever. You can actually taste a little bit of sweetness, the natural. So you are correct.
Yeah, natural goodness. Yeah, absolutely. I have to say, Graham, and like I say, it's a big transition for me. I feel a lot better for it, I have to say. I used to even walk a dog. My dog, in particular, I used to walk her around the block, and I used to feel a little bit sort of puffy, you know what I mean? A bit sweaty. Not sweaty, I'm not dripping with sweat, guys, but do you know what I mean? Like, I feel a bit clammy, do you know what I mean? That's a sign of bad health, really. So, yeah, I needed to make some changes. And a lot of people just go, yeah, but you're not big, and you're not, yeah, but...
So how long's it been now?
It's been about 2.5 weeks, I suppose. So it's not been long.
It's a change. You've gone through like the rough part because you must have missed it.
Yeah. I've gone literally. My body feels 100% more energetic, more. I just feel fresh all the time. Whereas before I didn't. And so I would recommend to anybody, if you feel a little bit down and groggy and what have you. I mean, seriously, exercise helps too. But even by just changing your diet, I mean, I'm talking
exercise. You started at the gym.
Yeah,
didn't you?
yeah, yeah. Gym, yeah, bit of swimming. Yeah, big transition, and I think it was necessary. And I think actually there comes a time in life where your body might just say to you, do you know what, mate? It's time to hang up the gloves. You know what I mean? No more sugary stuff. No more this. No more that. And in fact, by making these necessary changes, your body kind of gains a few more extra years. That's what it feels for me.
And also with age, you start
Yeah.
to go off with sweet stuff. For example, my favourite pudding used to be sticky toffee pudding.
Yeah.
Now, anyone that's tasted it will realise, when I say how sweet it is, it is now sickly sweet for me. I can't eat it anymore.
No.
And I used to like gypsy tarts.
I could never eat that anyway.
I
I
can't
never
eat
liked
them.
it. No. I think the reason why I didn't like a
Sweet.
gypsy tart is because the evaporated milk, isn't it? It makes it taste funny with sugar, I think. I don't know. I like evaporated milk in coffee, but I think it was just in that dessert. It was just too much. I think that was
yeah,
all right
because
on
it's
own.
already got loads of
Yeah,
sugar in it
That's
anyway.
probably why, Graham, I didn't like it,
So,
because it was just too overpowering. But my sister, I mean, I remember as a child, I mean, that's something that we had as children, and that was something that she really liked. And whenever I heard it, I thought, oh no, I don't want any. Do you know what I mean? Try to run from it. Force fed. No, it wasn't quite like that. But yeah, Graham. So we've had so much happen since we've last done a live. In fact, since we've done a show in general, either pre-recorded or live. We've had all sorts going on. We're going to cover a lot of different things, but I think first and foremost, just want to say a big sorry to my dog. Not that she's here to hear it, but she has crossed the said rainbow bridge. Lucy was in some of our past series shows, past episodes, I should say, and she was, I wouldn't say part of the fame of it all, but certainly she had her head in it where she could.
she was part of the production team, really.
She was, but she's now gone.
Yes, sad.
So yeah, 12 years old, had to go. Would have been about a month ago now. So, but we do have a new addition to the family in the sense of a four-legged friend. Some of you already know. For those that don't, she's a French bulldog and she's a little terror, isn't she?
She's been chewing away at the studio.
Yeah.
Whilst we were
Even
trying
while
to
we're
set
set
it up.
I know animals. You can't let them in anywhere, can you?
And chewing on your arms and your hands.
Yeah, and the heart. Yeah. Graham, what else though? On a serious note, although that is serious in our sense of the personal serious, but in the more broader serious, life has got a bit crazy, hasn't it? We need to check some comments, guys, so we will keep on top of that. We'll see who's commenting as we go. So our directors will give us the thumbs up when a comment comes through. In the meantime, please do, as I say, either watch or comment. That's your call. All right.
And drink wine.
And drink wine, or tea, or coffee, or gin. I can't drink gin anymore because that's not the sort of alcohol that I'm told I'm allowed. But you just got to drink in moderation. I think that's the thing. So what have we had going on then, Graham? On a serious note, we will get there. So we've had. Let's start with Ukraine, shall we?
Yeah, why not?
Yeah. So what do we know? So we know that the Russians are a little bit upset with the Ukrainians, namely because we understand the Russians, just given a clear indication as to what we think is going on at least. I'm no diplomat, so don't quote me on any of this, but so basically the Russians want Ukraine, don't they? They believe that it's part of their grounds, part of their.
They want significant parts of Ukraine.
Yeah.
They don't want all of it. They just want.
They want to cherry pick.
Yeah.
Right.
But that doesn't appear to be happening. In fact, there was news that the Russian forces have stepped back. They've actually been pushed back. So that was on GB News.
Right. Yeah. GB News is where we get our news. They have, and actually you've got to give credit to the Ukrainian population, haven't you, for standing ground. And actually, I suppose what we can say is, and benefit to it, the cause is that we as a country, and many countries alike in the European Union zone area, states or otherwise, are providing munitions to Ukrainians to use to fight, to defend. So that's good. At least we are helping in some way. And of course, we understand we're taking in the genuine, I say, refugees.
Yes, exactly.
Which is, again, it's fantastic.
There isn't a sad side to it all. I mean, the whole situation is sad. It's depressing to know about. But there's young children and premature babies that have been born, and they're still in the war-torn area.
Yeah, they are.
And they can't be moved because it's been said that if the babies are moved, the high probability that they will die.
Well, the thing is well, Graham, is what we already know as well is war's not pretty. It's not glamorous. So of course there is going to be some really awful stories coming out of it, such as, like, we know that the children's hospitals are being bombed, that of paternity or maternity wards, which is crazy. But I mean, you know, what we do know is we're taking in some of those children, particularly cancer patients, which is fantastic news.
Yes,
into our wards.
Recently we had a shipment or so, didn't we, to orphans, young orphans. So I think the eldest was 17.
Right. Really? Eldest orphan?
Yeah.
Still under parental guidance, of course. Yeah.
So they're all in the UK now.
Yeah.
I'm
But what we
probably wrong, so correct me if I'm wrong, everybody. I think it's about 50.
50.
Yeah, I think it's around about that figure.
I mean, what we can say as well about the Ukrainian population and people in general is that they don't want to leave the Ukraine. They're not seeking like an economic migrant, should we say? They're not.
Yeah, exactly.
They're coming here because they feel they have to, because they're in a war-torn area that we know of. So of course, what we understand now is actually they probably and more than likely do want to return back to the Ukraine once things settle, on the basis that they stay Ukraine.
Some may decide to remain here.
Yeah, of course, and good luck to them.
But the majority will return to their homeland.
Yeah. And they're here for one reason. It's because of war, isn't it? So that makes absolutely difference. Say hello to Thomas Gaming Adventures. Absolutely, we got a message through from one of our team behind the scenes.
Hello,
Nice to see
Thomas.
you guys. Hello, Thomas. Thank you for tuning in to the Ben&Grem Show, mate. If this is your first time, can you read that out again for us? What was it again, Graham? The name? So it's Thomas Gaming Adventures. Nice one. Thank you, Thomas. Yeah. Good shout out to you, mate. And if you haven't seen his channel, do go across to his channel, hit the subscribe and like and follow.
And share some of our posts.
And share some of his too. Absolutely. Thank you very much, Thomas, for getting on board. He wants to talk about, yes, we do too. Yes, Thomas wants to talk about P&O. And actually, Graham, we were actually going to bring this up tonight, weren't we?
Yes, because we've got a few subjects, haven't we? So
just a few.
We've got Ukraine, which we touched on a bit. We may come back.
We might come back to that. So do we want to go straight to P&O now? Thank you, Thomas.
Certainly.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna have a sip of this wine first, mate. I don't know about you.
I can't get enough of it.
Oh, it's really good.
It's really nice.
Do you know what? I'll tell you what. If you want a good drink, give it 2 weeks without a single drop, and then come back to this stuff. Jeez, wow. Are we past? It's nearly 9 o'clock, guys. No swearing on this show. All right. Cheers. Yeah. P&O. Well, I'll tell you a little.
The smell is nice. It's nice.
It is nice. Yeah. You smell pretty good too, mate.
Woo!
So yeah, basically. So what do we know about P&O? So I used to work on P&O some years ago. I worked on the ferry, the Pride of Canterbury. I started on the ferry as a kitchen porter, and then I went on to working within the galley, and then I stayed on board week on week off for a short period of time, and then I left. But that's the end of my story. But more importantly, there was a bigger story at hand here.
Yes, there is. P&O's done a big dirty on their staff.
Yeah. And surprisingly enough,
and they broke the law. Well, they admit they broke the law.
It's amazing they've even been able to have got away with it, really. I mean, do you know what makes me sick, actually? For all those people that were long-standing members of P&O, the crew, so they were on there working long hours and some really dangerous hours.
Some people have worked like 30 years.
Yeah, and 30 years and a proper long service. And then to think that those people have been made redundant on the basis that you would understand, I think, the company has gone bust or disappeared from the working entity. But no, actually what we've understood to know is that you've got these others coming in now, and also there now on P&O being paid less than the national minimum wage, and they've been undercut. The main staff of P&O that have now lost their jobs have been undercut by people that are on
about, I think it's 580 or something.
Yeah. LAW. That's we just got another message through, guys.
Yeah, look at us. Look. Is it Andrew?
Yeah, Andrew. Andrew. Yeah.
Yeah.
Andrew says he's back. We're back. Yes. Yeah, and Andrew's back too. And actually, Andrew, that's another one. Please do follow Andrew. ALW Exploration on YouTube. Have a look, because again, he similarly has a YouTube channel. Fantastic that it is, and it's all very historical, goes around different places, ruins, and some very artistic stuff, very factual information that you can find on his channel. Thomas says, no, he doesn't.
Thomas is his son.
Thomas is his son. Oh, well, there you go. What a small world that is. No, get out of it. Nice one, Thomas. I didn't know that. Well, nice to see you, Thomas. Nice to meet you, if not digitally. Cheers. I've got a drink to that, mate. I can't believe that. Fantastic. We've got another follower in Andrew and Thomas.
But getting back to the P&O story.
Yeah, so P&O.
They admitted that they broke the law.
Yeah, absolutely did.
They're paying £5 something an hour to agencies. So the agency staff were being led on board of the ship. I think it was somewhere in France. It wasn't Calais. It was. It might have been.
Not Paul.
Do they go to Ostend? Did they go to Ostend?
I think, yeah.
Or was that DFDS?
I don't know. That might be DFDS. I think unless they're cruise ships, do, of course. I don't know.
Well, anyway, this ferry was. All their staff was, because everyone was told at the same time, weren't they? Midday, I believe it was.
Yeah.
That it was their last day.
No warning.
To collect their items and to leave the ship immediately.
Disgusting.
And this one vessel, which was in France, docked up. As the staff were being ushered off by security guards, agency staff were being led on in front of them. I mean, how insulting.
Well, that's just that. Well, again, it's illegal. You can't do it. You can't replace, or can you? I mean, I don't know the legalities here, but surely it's not right.
The security staff was wearing balaclavas as well. So
it's criminality. It's got to be. I mean, the fact is, Graham, we've got to put a stop to it, because if you think about it, if P&O have been able to have got away with it, then look at what's going to happen in the wider scheme of things. People could just chop somebody's job completely and then put somebody else in to do the same job for a lot less, and they'll think they'll get away with it.
But P&O put up a package, haven't they? Redundancy package as a whole lump sum.
Well, I think they will have to, won't they?
Is it about 30 million or something?
They need to.
So divide that by 800 people, whatever the.
I mean,
everyone won't get the same though.
I mean, when I was working, no, of course not. But I mean, when I was working on P&O, I remember there were people on there that had been there 30 years plus. Even going back to the days of the 80s, when the Herald, sadly, the tragic of the Herald, the Enterprise went down. People from that ship also continued working at sea on P&O, and so they would have had the chop as well, presumably. I mean, but that's just horrific to think that they would have just had their job gone. And actually, is it not fair to say that when that happened, nobody knew whether they were going to get redundancy? I think it was just because there was no information, was there? They were just, you've got to leave the ship.
No, I think they didn't. They didn't know.
No.
But they would have got it. There's no doubt about it. They would have got a form of redundancy, and now that they know what they're likely to get. But then that's not the end of the story.
No.
I mean, these people, they've got families.
Of course.
They've got rents.
Yeah.
And they got a life. That they work hard, and they get treated like this. It's just so unacceptable.
I mean, the consolation, and there is no consolation in any of this, by the way, but I'm just looking at it from a positive, and there's not many positives to take from this. These guys are professionals in the sense of their job, in the sense that they are, now I think it still exists today, I know it did when I was there on the ferries, but PST training, so of course they've got their PST card, they will probably also have their seafarers documents, so in fact they could potentially be able to go straight into another job that requires them to be out at sea. Having said that, I don't know. So again, but that's not a consolation, but it is in one sense. Do you know what I mean? What I'm saying is, of course, is that they're not certainly people I would think that are unskilled in a sense to not be able to go and get another job quite quickly. You know what I mean? But that's not consolation, is it? It's not consolation. In fact, to be quite honest, it's not good enough, is it? All round.
No, it's not good enough. I've just remembered one thing. We did a vessel in France that had docked, and they were told to get off, vacate, take all their belongings. There wasn't even any transport put on for them.
No.
They had to arrange their own transport.
Yeah.
And in the end, DFDS, maybe their chairman or so, said just come to us, and they fed them, they gave them tea and coffees, and they put them up in the Premier Lounge on their vessels.
Yeah they did. No,
P&O's got a lot to answer for, and they've gone down in my estimations totally. I don't know if I would travel with them again.
I remember a little thing that people used to do though with P&O, and it kind of makes me feel that I'm pleased to hear that they used to do it now, knowing what P&O have done to these people. Is when I was at P&O, and even before that, there was this thing going on about I'm trying to think of the words now. So basically, your hours. Think of your hours, right? Now, if you weren't somebody who was on a contract, but you were on a agency contract, you could actually put in your hours, right? So what people used to do was they used to put in their hours as to what they believed they worked, and they used to get that paid. Obviously, they had to make it realistic to a degree. However, they could probably earn a few extra quid or two here and there. And actually, when I think about it, good luck to them. For now, the way that it's gone and the way that P&O have treated them all, actually, whatever money you did make from that company, well, good luck to you. But you know what I mean. But that was not a system that they. I mean, it was a poor system because basically what P&O were doing was they were trusting people to put in their hours. You know what I mean? I mean, it's mad. But they used to do that. I mean, it wasn't so much when I joined.
They didn't have someone check the timesheets.
Well, no, the timesheet you used to do your own timesheets and then you used to put them in, and then P&O, the headquarters, would just pay what was entered. So,
oh my God, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. But it used to go on. It went on for years. But the thing was, when I joined back in the early 2000s, it was a story told to me, so it wasn't actually going on then. So it had to have been going on up to a certain point. In fact, it might have been going on then, but not to my knowledge. But to my knowledge, it was going on way before then. And people were saying about how great it was that people used to just put in a few extra quid here and there on their hours. Just like, we worked maybe, say, I don't know, for argument's sake, so they would say that rather than to put 12 hours down for a shift, they might say 15. But it would never get checked. So they would get 15. So you know what I mean? You'd have to make it realistic. You couldn't put 25 hours down for one shift. I mean, they would know that there's something wrong there. It's a discrepancy. But
that's ridiculous. And because it's been going on for so long. There's no way the company's going to bother to check that.
Yeah.
Now.
So two wrongs don't make a right here. But I mean, in a way, Graham, I'm kind of thinking for those that did that,
that is a bit naughty.
Good luck to them. Yeah, but I mean, it is naughty. I'm not saying you should do that in any job, but. I mean, you know what I mean? I'm not condoning it as good, but it was something that was told to me when I joined the ship. But I couldn't do that because actually I was somebody who was paid a set salary, because they did pay salary on there, and of course I was what we call an 1800-hour contract. So that was a set amount each month, and my shifts were given to me, and that was the end of it. So there was no, and I had to swipe on and off, and I had to do that for safety reasons as well. So it's not just a case of get paid. That was the main reason from my point of view, but it was also a safety reason to know that they knew you were on the ship, and clock off. So. But before that, before they had that system, it was, I think, timesheets. Everything was timesheets. Yeah. So, so anybody that does know about timesheets, you might know what I'm talking about. Yeah, let us know if you know what I'm talking about.
Maybe you've done the dirty.
Maybe not say anything, because if you did say something and this happens to get global, which it probably won't, but if for an argument's sake it does.
Never say that. One day we may be in the line.
But I wouldn't want to set somebody up to get nothing from P&O on the basis that they then find out.
No, I don't. I think it's too much, and it's too much time consuming.
Of course it is.
For P&O and financially for P&O to go down that route and check in.
Of course it is.
You're talking.
It's pennies to them. Pennies.
It's not 800 employees. You're talking thousands.
Thousands. Well, yeah, I don't know how many they had on the books, but I'd imagine they would have had a fair few thousand. Because it wasn't just the people that worked at P&O in the dock of Dover. It was those that worked in Calais, and of course it was those also that worked for the cruises. I mean, I don't know how it worked, but Gibraltar House, wasn't it? Whether they had one headquarters that dealt with them all, such as the local ferries and of course the cruise ferries, I don't know, but I'm sure it works similarly to. They must have had a system in place anyway, but that's irrelevant. The system is gone now. P&O have done that. But if people reapply for their job, would they be granted it? That's what I want to know, because they're still functioning. So technically speaking, they should not legally, I would think, not be allowed to be declined a job, right? So if they've been made, on what grounds have they been made redundant?
Exactly, the company has broke the law.
Yeah, exactly that. So there's nothing stopping anybody that's been, not that I'm not saying that I thought that anybody would actually want to go back there after being treated like that. I wouldn't blame them if they didn't. But if they said, no, absolutely not, I'm going back there and I'm going to apply, legally, surely, P&O can't refuse them, because they've not been sacked on gross misconduct. They've not been sacked. I mean, what is? No one knows.
No,
otherwise,
I don't know if P&O would refuse them. But then again, they'll be going in
on those wages, lower wages,
on less than £6 an hour, won't they?
Yeah.
Oh no, correction. It won't be less than £6 an hour. They will be paid the national living wage.
We have just been told by one of our viewers, it could be Thomas, I believe. He has said that no, it's not Thomas. It's who? Sorry, guys. We're getting used to this.
Do you like that bit of acting? Because we just doing it.
Yeah, that was. Yeah. Graham's got the information.
It was on the news that some were being paid £1.80 an hour.
Yeah. Wow, that's not good, is it?
But the latest that have come out from that, well, that was a while ago. That was roughly when it first happened. The latest is below £6 an hour. They've been paying £5 something. The agency staff. It's still unacceptable.
Well, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt. Yeah, £1.80 an hour. Well, what do you think then? Do you think they're going to come under a heavy fine? Surely the government needs to catch up with them. How does it work though? Because they're an offshore company, aren't they? Gibraltar House. Having said that, they are still part of the UK, right? Because they are, of course they are, because it's Gibraltar and they're part of us. So technically speaking, it shouldn't be that much of a difficulty in sorting this problem out. If they were an overseas company, to the point being out of our jurisdiction, so to speak.
It's the government can go after P&O and they can fine them heavily, which hopefully that they will do.
Well, they need to. I mean, actually, that's what.
But there's one other thing that you can do as well. Everyone, if it was me involved in this, I would take a personal argument against it, and I would go and sue. I would sue on my part. I think everybody should go and sue P&O.
Sue who?
The company.
Right. Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
Not sue blogs from the galley or from the shop.
I know. Leave Sue alone.
Yeah. Yeah, but I see your point. Yeah, but there must all be.
So there'd be a mass
suing.
A mass suing of all the individuals that have been sacked. There'd be 800 cases against a company.
It would be massive.
It would be a massive storyline.
Of course it would.
And it will go on for.
It'd be like Hillsborough. It'd be like Hillsborough, wouldn't it? You remember the whole Hillsborough disaster, the football disaster, where like it's gone on for so many years.
And you'll probably come out with more money.
Yeah, of course.
Definitely,
absolutely.
because P&O will pay.
Don't let them go.
Pay it out of court.
Yeah, don't go quiet on it, because that's when they'll think they've won, and it'll just get.
So instead of 30 odd million, which I believe is a figure I think that is available, you could possibly even double that, treble that. Because out of court they're paid, so you'll be in for a lot more money.
Out of court settlements. But the amount of
people I would sue.
Yeah, absolutely. Sue to your heart's content. Yeah. I just feel sorry for the people that have been on there like 30 odd plus years that probably wanted to retire on there. I mean, there's no reason for them not to. And now that that's happened, I mean, I feel sorry for people like that, because they might have been to the stage of their life now where they are skilled but to lose your job at that age, at an age of late 40s, 50s, to then have to go out and get another job is difficult.
Not it's not going to happen. The only job that probably end up having to fall in is care work.
Yeah.
Not everyone is suited for care work, and not everyone wants to do care work.
No. But it's just crazy.
I suppose DFDS is an option, and when I'm going to take a long shot here. I think DFDS will probably offer all future posts to P&O workers.
See, actually,
so
where do they?
There might not be 800 posts, but
See, it's not like their competition's gone either, is it? Because P&O are still functioning, which I think is crazy. I mean, to think that actually they said, look, we can't function anymore, we're in too much debt, or we have to wind the company
up. I will not sail with them again.
But this is the thing, the fact that they're still sailing and they're still producing a service on the basis of what they've done is that's just...
They're like not sailing yet, are they?
Not yet, they're not, but they are intending to, aren't they?
Yeah.
They are... I mean, what are they going to do, change their name? I mean, actually, legally, what can they do that? This is where they've got, whoever is involved in this needs to do things now and fast, because if they're able to then go and change their name, well, they're a limited company.
They're registered in this country as a limited company.
Right, so that's worrying.
But they're most of their company is governed. Well, when I say governed, I mean, but their policies and their procedures, it's all covered through. Is it Ecuador?
Ecuador.
Is that?
Don't know what you're talking about, mate.
I might be wrong.
You
but
know what you're talking about.
No, the company is registered in another country.
I don't know. I'm thinking of Equifax, but they're a financial agency.
It's not Equifax, and it's probably not Ecuador.
That's a country, isn't it? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Ecuador's a country. It's a nice country, isn't it? Warm there.
Hello everyone and welcome to Mr. This is South America and here is Ecuador. Now let's...
We mumbled a bit there, didn't we?
No, I just didn't know what you were talking about. That's my fault, not yours. That's quite
makes me think maybe I didn't know what I was talking about.
No, I think you did. I know what you're talking about. Equity.
No.
What are we talking about next then, anyway? What's on the...
Drink some wine.
Yeah, why not? Cheers. Yeah, it's a nice one, guys. I hope you have a drink. It's thirsty work doing this, isn't it? I think it's all the studio lights. I don't know how these people that do these sets... I mean, actually, that's why we know that Nigel Farage, when he does his beer at the end of his our show on GB News, he's got a drink by hand. Because it must get a bit warm under those lights, mustn't it?
It's got to.
He's got to. So I don't blame him, really. Yeah,
he's in a full, kitted studio.
Oh.
I mean, we've got a few lights scattered about.
What for?
For us, for this evening.
Oh, we have. Oh, that's good to know. It's been a while though. I actually, funny you say that because I was in town the other week and I come by somebody and said, Ben&Grem Show. I went, yeah. Obviously, it felt great, but we're in our own town. Do you know what I mean? It's not like we're getting that far.
Good.
But no, but you know what? And they said, I must remember to watch that. And I'm thinking, yeah, it'd be good if we actually done a show. We haven't done one in a while. So for the fact that they called us up on it, well, I thought was amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm like, yeah, get in there. Anyway, but that.
But the subject on P&O, it's just difficult.
Yeah.
It's difficult to talk about.
It
really.
is. It's
unnecessary amount of wastage or staff wastage.
Yeah, it's a big fish in a small pond, really, isn't it?
But there's a lot more to come out of that.
Yeah. And
we will definitely re-engage in this subject, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I hope there will be some good news in all this. And do you know what? Do you know what's also frustrating? Was we've got the whole situation with Russia and Ukraine, and then this gets thrown in the mix. P&O. It's like they couldn't have timed it better, could they? I mean, as if people haven't got enough to worry about. Putin on the march.
The thing is, to make a decision like this, they must have known a year in advance that things weren't looking right.
Somebody must have known in the background. I always say this.
But they were paid millions and millions.
Makes you wonder who knew and be told to keep quiet.
By the government to do with the COVID crisis.
Yeah.
So the staff wage bill could still be paid.
Yeah. He probably sat on a load of money and thought, do you know what? Actually, I don't know. I'm not going to make suggestions.
P&O, aren't they as sponsors for a particular sport? I don't know. Is it golf?
Could be.
I think it's golf. Well, not P&O as such, but the parent company, whatever they're called.
Well, surely that's going to be cut. Surely.
No, they still paid that.
Disgraceful.
That was discussed on the news a couple of weeks ago. That was still paid.
So hang on a minute. So you've got Abramovich
over 200 and something odd million pounds.
So hang on a minute. So you've got Abramovich being told to sell up assets with Chelsea because he's affiliated with Putin in some way, just because they happen to know each other, I think. And yet, because of the war and everything, so he's been told he's got to sell Chelsea, or at least been made to sell Chelsea. Sanctions left, right, and centre. But P&O go and do the dirty on thousands of people, and then you can still get sponsors. I just think that's outrageous.
It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, come on. If we're gonna do this whole example thing, then surely we've got to meet example to example, right? We've got to make examples of these people. So I just find, if I'm a Chelsea fan, I'd be saying that. I'd be saying, what about P&O? What about that? Unbelievable. You just touched on something there. I feel really passionate about this, and I'm not even a Chelsea fan. If I was Chelsea, I'd be fuming. Anyway, forget that. No, I'm not. You are though, aren't you?
Well, I do like Chelsea.
Yeah, but it's disgusting. I always
very annoyed with the whole situation.
But I just think it's crazy. I mean, all right, Abramovich, but how? When it first came about, I was like, we've gone on to football.
But yeah, I know we've gone on to football, but
it's not really football, is it? It's about kind of, well, there's a situation that's occurred there, so actually similar situations occurred over here, but the two of them don't.
Can you remember that when? What's his name? Abramovich.
Yeah, Abramovich.
Yeah, well, when he first came on the scene, can you remember the negativity in the news?
Because he was Russian.
In the news report,
Yeah.
it was awful.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, but I mean, what's he got to do with Putin though? What's it got to do with
some
Ukraine?
of the fans back then, the Chelsea fans back then, weren't too happy with the situation. But it turns out that the guy appears to have done nothing wrong in his tenure as the owner.
He's done nothing wrong.
And he's plummeted amounting, was it over £1 billion worth of money into Chelsea?
Yeah.
So.
Will Smith.
Yes, the Oscars.
Do you know what? I was talking to family members about this recently, Graham, and we discussed this, and we said, well, actually, can you imagine if Ricky Gervais had done the Oscars and told that joke to Will Smith's wife? Would he have gone out and done the same thing?
No, he would. No, he couldn't do, because can you imagine the outroar of a white person saying something like that?
Yeah, there is that.
It just wouldn't have been appropriate.
No. Well, yeah, but it would. It wouldn't. It wouldn't. We know that. We know that it would be made more of. We know that, but I don't know. But I've said all along, I mean. What
was your first impressions when it first happened? When you first heard about it?
Well, firstly, I thought. Well, I saw it. Well, I didn't see it live. I saw the news on it, and I saw the captions, and I thought, okay, so Will Smith's laughed because he found it evidently quite funny. He turned to his wife. His wife had the face like a thousand.
Slapped with a fish.
Yeah, or 1,000 dirty frogs, or I don't know what you want to call it. And I felt pushed.
He didn't look happy.
No, so he was put in a position. I don't know what she ever said if had chance to say, but he just instantly.
Probably. Why are you laughing?
Yeah, probably.
And then that's the reason why he had to get up and.
But
he felt he needed to get up and strike the comedian.
But yeah.
Now, when I first saw that, I was. Well done on you, Will. But 4 days later, after seeing the news and everything, and actually having time to work it over in one's head, it takes me a little bit of time. I'm thinking, no, that was actually very, very unacceptable.
Yeah. Nice.
And it's just totally should not have done it. And he's been in the limelight all these years. He's dealt with so much abuse and people shouting at him or throwing stuff. He's had it. He's probably one of the less ones having it, but he's had all that abuse.
But the thing is, do you know what I think? I think, Graham, it's going to be a bit controversial here, but I mean, this is the Ben&Grem Show.
As you said, it's the way his wife looked at him.
Yeah.
And he had to.
Do you know what I think? I think every man on this planet, Graham, needs to do a test. All right, and it's like the birds and the bees. Once upon a time, it used to be called the birds and the bees, didn't it? Like your mum and dad would tell you about the birds, and if on the other hand, the bees, right? But something similar to that.
I never had that conversation.
No, I don't think I did. I think my dad said to me when I was 15, "When are you going to get a girlfriend?"
When are you going to move out?
Yeah, might have been, because I don't think I brought anybody on by then. But on the point of this conversation, I'd say, there needs to be a conversation with men in general about picking your. I wouldn't say picking your fights carefully, because that's not all women are bad, but there is a cult now, isn't there, of political thinkers. Nowadays there's a lot of that. Now, back in the day, nobody cares about politics, right? And everybody didn't have an opinion on everything. But nowadays everybody has an opinion on something. But what we do know is you've got one side of politics on those on the left, and you've got one of those on the right. Right tend to be a bit more pragmatic. Left tend to be a bit way out there. So what I tend to find is if you get maybe Will Smith, who I would say is probably not left wing generally speaking, because he laughed at the joke.
Yeah,
she's a bit left wing.
He's centre left.
Yeah, maybe he's a bit centre left, but he laughed because he understands it's just a joke. He's a comedian. Show a bit of backbone, get on with it. Her on the other hand, so the two of them aren't compatible, in a sense. So basically.
Well, I believe she sleeps with other people anyway.
Well, there you go. But my point is
that's an agreement that she can do that. There's an agreement there.
Yeah, that
he knows about it.
Wow.
But
anyway, but you know what I'm saying? So I think there needs to be a, rather than relationships get to know one another, there needs to be an understanding upon what is acceptable and what's not in the general terms of conversation. So you need to be able to go out a couple of times. You need to be able to make some on the edge jokes and then get their responses, because you're going to spend the rest of your life with that woman. And if I'm honest, I found it's more women that turn out to be more woke than the men, because men tend to see, I think men tend to see have a broader picture of things, generally speaking. You know, don't get me wrong, not in all cases, but I think on percentage, I think men are a bit like whatever. You know, but women, they're so ingrained on an argument.
Men, I think what you mean is men are more outward thinking.
Outward thinking, yeah.
But that's why women are quite good at solving and problem solving.
Maybe
because
so.
They don't necessarily do that.
But you know, but she's shown an example. She's shown an example like of how somebody from one sort of train of thought to another, how it doesn't work in a relationship. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, I've been fortunate enough to. Well, I don't know. I think it's if you're politically minded, because I think everybody is nowadays. I don't think people can't be, because of the way life is. Everything, whatever you do now, it involves some form of politics or an opinion of some form. You know, so you can't get away from it. You can try and blank yourself away from it, but in reality, everybody has an opinion, and myself included. Don't get me wrong. But do you know what I'm saying, Graham? Graham, is that, you know, you get one person that has a left-wing view, and she should, or he should, because it would happen on the he side as well, should be able to just go, well, I didn't find that very funny. But rather than that, they have to make a big thing about it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But somebody on the right would be like,
violence.
yeah, violence. But somebody on the right would be like, all right, I didn't like that, or whatever. Next joke. Do you know what I mean? You know what I mean? There's a difference between these type of people. So when you put a left and right together, I know somebody in my family, and I shouldn't say too much, and I won't give names because of obvious reasons, but I know somebody in my family who was very, I wouldn't say right wing, but certainly somebody who I could certainly have a conversation with, agree or disagree, and they would sound a bit real. Can I say real?
Yeah.
Nowadays, that same person has gone the other way, and now I can have a conversation with that person, and they're right and I'm wrong. And the fact that they're right on these things that actually historically, factually are not true, doesn't matter. They're right because they say they are, and that is the typical sign of a left wing.
It's their interpretation.
Their interpretations are facts. And interpretation is not a fact. A fact is a fact, and interpretation is what you believe the facts are. But that doesn't make those facts right. So that's the point. And so what I'm saying is, this in particular person has met somebody, and that person is very left wing, and that's kind of fueled the fire even more. And the two of them are like, now I can only put it Harry and Meghan.
Oh, dear.
They're very similar in the sense that they've completely changed. Like they are literally one person, and probably in
the
reality,
Harry and Meghan show.
Yeah, would be #1 Donald Trump enemy haters. Absolutely. Do you know what I mean? You can see it a mile off. Do you not find that though when you meet people in town? Do you know anywhere, right? If you meet somebody new, I don't know about you, Graham, but I can in half an hour I can sort of gauge where they are.
Oh yes, I'm doing it all the time.
I'm always doing it, and then do you know what? It works. I'm not wrong.
I actually say it out loud, not too loud screaming it. Yeah, I actually go, "You're left wing."
Yeah, and you know straight away.
You're right wing.
This ain't gonna work.
You know, I think you're a bit centre right.
I'm not gonna sleep with you. I'm not gonna live with you. But I know for a fact, because you're left wing, this relationship's gonna be very difficult. And you know for a fact, you just stay clear. You got to. I mean, that's not being nasty, because you'd still help a friend out.
There used to be a rule in relationships.
Yeah.
It went on for generations.
Yeah.
Never talk about politics, and don't tell anyone who you vote for.
Yeah.
It's your personal choice. Yeah. It's only for you to know.
Yeah.
But now, because of wokeness and everything else, everyone has to voice.
Oh, woke! I tell you what, we've been discussing woke for months, haven't we?
Years.
It seems.
It's just too stressful.
It's too strong now. It's so strong. It's got a grip. I can't remember. I can tell you a handful of things that have gone on in my life in the last month about things that happened woke-wise, and that's what I say. Public or no public, I just go, well, that was woke, wasn't it? And that's the end of the conversation. I went to swimming, right, at Dover Leisure Centre, guys. You'll know the new leisure centre, right? Now I remember as a child, years and years ago that was, not many, but you know, and my auntie used to take me swimming sometimes, and she used to go to the sauna afterwards, right? So there's me swimming. Did I have 4 or 5 kids out there with me? I can't remember now. It was 5. I think it was 5. So I had 5 kids with me, and I thought, right, kids, we're gonna have a swim, and at 6 o'clock we're coming out because we're gonna nip in the sauna, guys. All right? You'll love it. It's really good fun, you know. Yeah. So anyway, we get out the swimming pool after already being told by one chap that you can't swim past a certain point with armbands. I mean, after all, I am the parent. I'm quite understanding of life, health and safety. I mean, after all, it seemed to me the first thing I got when he said to me, "You can't swim past there, mate." I'm thinking, with the kids with armbands. I'm like, yeah, I get that, mate. I'm with the child. You know what I mean? I'm a parent, for crying out loud. So regardless of whether I was a parent or not, an adult was with that child, so he's being supervised. I thought to myself, well, hang on a minute. Are you just trying to avoid having to get in the water? You're the lifeguard. You know what I mean? Why are you trying to avoid doing work here? Because you sit up there on that staircase, but you don't want to get in the water, clearly, because you want to avoid a situation. Well, that's the whole point of you being there. Right, that's the first thing. Second thing, right, so I get out of the pool at 6 o'clock, right? Come on, kids, we're walking down, right? I turn around to the left where the saunas are. I was quite excited about this. I thought the kids would like this. Because I was one that went in the saunas. Same guy comes over. Oh, you can't go in there with the kids, mate. You've got to be 16. I was like,
What,
really?
to go in the sauna?
Yeah. I went, and the first thing I said to him, I felt really bad when I did it. I went, "You're joking?" I was like, "Oh, these rules. There's too many rules here, mate." And then that was it. He just walked away. He didn't argue with me, and I wasn't expecting him to, but he just walked away. And I walked away and thinking, I can't continue with woke anymore. I mean, I understand there are people in the world that are suicidal, all right? And I understand. Well, I don't understand it, but I do understand.
I think a sauna would be okay for a child for a limited amount of time.
Yeah.
I don't think personally I would. I think any more than 10 minutes for a child might be.
Well, yeah, but you know,
not
you're a
too
parent.
good.
Oh, I don't like this. Okay, we'll leave then, kids. You know what I mean? For crying out loud. If I'd let the kids go in there on their own, I totally get it. You know, not to be unsupervised by an adult, then I totally get it. But at 16, over 16s, 16 or over, could only use the sauna. I just thought, wow. Anyway, so that was that. So I thought it's so immaterial. It's such a nonsense thing. Why am I getting bothered by this? And I think the reason why I got bothered by it was because this kid couldn't have been any older than my son. My eldest, by the way. I'm 37. I mean, he looked about 15. I mean, I don't even think he could swim, to be fair. But he was sitting on this, like, like the umpires. Is it the umpires at a tennis match?
Yeah.
Sitting on that stool thing down there, looking like. He was looking around. I'm thinking, if you had to jump in that water, mate, you'd probably moan because your hair's wet, because you're probably woke. So there's no chance that you're going to go saving
Was his
anyone's
hair
life.
or gelled?
It might have been gelled. Yeah, exactly. I can't get in that water, mate. I've got gel on my hair. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, you can't save that kid. You know what I mean? And he's telling me I can't go past that line. All right, mate. Cheers. You know what I mean? And then the other ruling is you can't go in the pool with your kids. I think it's 2 or 3 kids per adult. I think it's 3 kids per adult. Is that right? Under 8.
With great local schools, with fantastic broadband. Forgive me. Forgive me. Forgive me.
You can't go in there. It's any children under 8 can't go in there with one adult if there's more than 3. Okay, right, fine. But if you got 5 kids, right? So in order for me to go swimming with my 5, I need to have a second adult with me. Is that right? Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm not right. Can you? The director's just going to correct me on that because it's all about facts here on the Ben&Grem Show. So
8 and under.
8 and under. So it's 8 and under, guys. 8 and under. So anybody that's under 8 years of age has to be supervised.
2
more,
plus,
but 2 plus. Yeah, two per adult.
Right.
So it's all these rules. I can't. I'm not paying the membership. And so now I feel victimised because I've got 5 children. And it's like, oh, I
But
can't.
you're enjoying your time there.
I'm enjoying my swimming there, and so are they. But don't get me wrong. But I can't use a swimming pool. I can't use a sauna because the kids aren't old enough. I thought that was just fantastic. I can't go in the gym unless I take my eldest, who's 11, because he has to be supervised by an adult. But I can't take anyone in there under 11. Okay, I get that. But if you're an adult and you're with your children, then they're supervised by an adult. So that should make any difference, right? But anyway, that's
All
another
this should have been
conversation.
told to you at the time.
It
Before
should have probably been told, but then again, this is where somebody like me in my generation, Graham, and similarly to you, I'm sure. I don't know if you find life hard. I do. I find life hard because when something seems quite straightforward and common sense, it doesn't exist anymore. So you can't assume anything in this life anymore. So basically, you walk into any shop, any restaurant, everything's changed so much that it's almost, as they see it, common knowledge, but actually in reality it's not. It's not. So do you know what I mean? I feel like sometimes in society I feel like I've been in jail for 20 years. I've just come out on day release and I'm going to live a day's life, and it's like everything's changed.
All of a sudden, how you do things is
It's
different.
changing.
Yeah.
It's everything's changed so much. Like I said, my auntie never even. I don't even think it was a thing about saunas, but now you
Some
can't
of
go
these
in it.
changes are woke as well.
Oh, woke. And this is the thing. But the thing is, you can't. There's no conversation anymore. I said to the guy, "You're joking."
It'll die out. This won't.
Do you think it will?
Yeah.
I hope it does.
I don't believe that it's going to take hold.
I feel sorry for the kids.
Thank God that it's just a small amount of people, but they're very vocal.
They are vocal. They are. This is the problem. But this is left wing for you. But this is my point. So when I'm saying you're out and about, you're on a night out and you're looking for a bit of love. You know, you're looking at lots of different things, I'm sure, as a bloke. But now you've got to look about whether they're woke or not. Because trust me, in 10, 15 years' time down the line, that's going to catch up with you. And believe you me, she'll have you in the doghouse for probably believing that the sky's blue. So you've got to be careful because they are very
Probably
tender.
a lot more divorces.
Very tender. And that's if they haven't changed their sex in that time frame. Because they might they might decide they want to become a woman if they're a man.
Or a spirited penguin.
Or a spirited penguin. Or what's the other thing? Oh, apparently now, because the Labour Party, this is interesting, right? So you know that main opposition, or as like the GB News would say, the no opposition of the Labour Party, because they are no opposition in reality, right? So Keir Starmer, I say sir because I'll give him some credit. He said on the national live radio, which was on television, with LBC with Nick Ferrari, he says that when asked the question about whether he felt that women could have penises.
Oh, he couldn't answer it, could he?
I can say that, it's 9:10. He couldn't answer it. Actually, this will be live anyway, so at some point, so you can watch it whenever. But he couldn't answer it. In fact, that's the correct political term to use, right? So you can't even have me on that woke. Penis is an acceptable word. It's not vulgar. And anyway, getting to the point, he couldn't answer it. Could he? He wanted to almost break the conversation down, like he had a perfectly good explanation as to why he couldn't answer it.
But it wasn't even an answer.
It wasn't even an answer. And then so Nick Ferrari was like, I think he was being professional, but you could almost see him wincing behind the microphone. It was like, I don't get what's going on here.
Yeah.
And he's the leader of the Labour Party. And do you know what? I remember when was it Ed Miliband when he was in, and I was thinking he's a plonker. But even though I think that probably they've done well in themselves for getting Keir Starmer's not much better. And I just think all of them they're all on puppet strings, aren't they?
Well, Labour haven't got really.
Cheers.
I mean, the old front bench was just ridiculous. I mean.
Oh, that Angela Rayner, she's a nightmare, I know, isn't she?
Well, she's still in the front bench.
I know she is. Yeah, she is the front bench. She's a nightmare, isn't she? God, she's got vocals on her, isn't she? God, can you imagine seeing her? She's the typical left-wing campaigner that you would see in the high street somewhere, isn't it? Gobbing off.
Yeah, with
a
one
placard.
Of those, like metal megaphones.
Calling racism when she ain't got a clue about what racism means. Yeah, she's exactly one of those people, isn't she? You know it. I can imagine her screaming down Dover High Street. Didn't they have Diane Abbott some years ago down at the...
She got arrested, didn't she?
She got arrested for calling the White Cliffs racist because somehow nature said that the White Cliffs meant to be white by historical and factual reasons.
Oh, God help me.
Do you remember it? I don't remember it. Do you know what? I wish I was there, though. That would have been funny. I'd have said, you're a plonker, get off.
I was down there that day.
She would have had me arrested for calling her racist for calling her a plonker.
But I avoided the area because I was on my bike.
Did you? I didn't even realise it happened. I just heard about it afterwards. Unbelievable, isn't it? Actually, they made a good background, didn't they, for Britain's leaving the EU? Do you remember that? That was good, wasn't it? When it was lit up.
There was a little fight that broke out as well, wasn't it? When it got to Folkestone Road near the petrol station, and it turned out to be the left-wing side that actually started it. But
yeah,
then
of course. I bet it was reported the far right, right?
They were reported as far right, and they got the blame for the incident, even though they didn't start it.
The invincible far right that never left their homes. Do you know what I mean? Oh, it was really funny. I remember do you remember that thing that happened in Dover when they had all that going on, and then all the roads were being blocked and police everywhere? That was named far right as well. Well, I remember at the time I was in UKIP when they called us far right. We were all indoors. We were all going, oh, here we go, Labour out again. And do you know what? It was quite funny because I remember at Dover District Council. I remember when we were all in the council chamber and the Conservatives pulled them up on it. So what were you doing on this day? Do you know what I mean? It was, you couldn't write it. They all kept quiet. I mean, they're thicker as thieves, aren't they? But it's Labour though, isn't it? They can do it because they're Labour and they're allowed to do these things because they are now woke. And I think people like wokeness because I think the good thing about being woke.
I think it's a bit dangerous.
It is dangerous.
It's dangerous for them to go totally down the woke line because it's enough to.
But can you see the benefits from it though? The benefits, like for example, if you're woke, you don't have to agree with anything. You can just say whatever you want because it doesn't matter. Because you're woke, you can have an argument about it. You can moan about it and say it's not true if you don't believe it. You don't have to do any research.
Oh,
it's like get out of jail free. I'm woke. You can't have a go at me. And if you do have a go at me, you're racist. But if you do have a go at me, then I can say I'm transgender and you can't. And then we're going to fly colourful rainbows and you can't do anything because I'm untouchable. And then we'll get onto the Greta Thunberg, whatever you want to call her.
Oh, delight.
Who's got so much information. She's probably never done a day of school in her life, bless her heart. But I'm sure she's great at drawing. I know she's great. She is great. She will make a great mother. Don't get her on icebergs or global warming because she's What about the Insulate Britain? They've done well, haven't they? You don't hear of them anymore. Actually, I think
Oh,
you
no.
do. They were down in Dover the other day, actually, saying that. I was driving past them, wasn't I? Do you remember?
Oh,
Were you
yes.
with me?
Yes.
Down going towards Folkestone. And yeah, I saw them sitting there by the Snargate Street, laying on the floor. Elderly people laying on the floor. I bet half of them have got blooming disabled bays and all the rest of it. Yeah. I wonder if the DWP will catch up with you lot sitting gluing yourselves to the floor with back problems.
And piles.
And all the rest of it. Yeah, well done. But don't have a go at them because they're Insulate Britain. Do you know, it's quite funny though that all of the hierarchy that made the Insulate Britain they're all hypochondriacs. They're all like what's the word? They're all two-faced in a sense. I use that word two-faced because they've all got properties where they've not even done half of what they could do to make their lives better for the planet. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
All driving fast cars. Well, they don't. People don't realise, do they? You'll get caught up eventually. If you go playing these games, it's like they say, stones and glass houses, isn't it? And this is the thing with Labour. They throw lots of stones, but they live in glass houses, and they don't like one getting back. Do you know, I went to a local... I'm really talking about this now, and I will get off this subject where I'm having a bit of a go here. It's been a while, Graham, hasn't it? Hasn't it been a while? No, actually, I won't go there. No, it's too... I've got loads, Graham. What else we need to talk about?
I'm trying to recap in my head. Right, we're going to go silent for a second.
He's taking a break. He's like, God, will you shut up? He's going. So anyway, thanks for leaving any comments. I don't know if you have. Our director's on the scene, looking for anything that comes through. And we will be alerted as and when it happens, won't we?
Well, we spoke about Ukraine.
Yeah.
We spoke about P&O.
We have.
We could go on a little bit more about P&O, but I want to follow up a little bit more of the news on that. And I think we'll touch it next time. We'll bring P&O, but we'll have it as one of our main stories. So Ukraine, P&O.
Yeah. What else do we need to talk about? Ukraine, P&O. What else do we need to talk about? Oh yeah, so that's what we need to talk about actually, as I remembered. So I'm not going to use the word woke anymore because we've done that. But just coming away from that slightly, but you could almost put it in the same category, Graham, is petitions. There's been a petition that's been put to the world about now whether it's the children's idea put to certain woke-based families that have pushed the idea to be made legally able to be delegated within Parliament because they've got 100,000 signatures already. It's a petition to ask the government to allow schools to have Fridays off for reasons of children being able to have a bit of a break because of GCSEs. And just feel that actually 4 days out of 5 is probably better for them and everybody.
Is that how it was reported?
I believe so.
I'm wondering, it can't be all the school years. It can only be the GCSE year. Because
I think why
on earth would you close down the whole?
It just said children in general.
Oh no, children in general. Yeah, I think it did say children.
So
in general.
basically, just a 4-day week.
4-day week for schools, yeah.
But the government aren't going to. I think it's pretty silly. If they agreed with it, but they're not going to, because by September of next year,